Lauren Boebert isn't quite clever enough to make the points she wants on social media without opening herself up to obvious, predictable, and accurate mockery. She's also not clever enough to know when to just accept the mockery and let it lie. And so she's doubling down in a way that I think makes her look even worse. So we'd already reported yesterday that she's taking credit for an infrastructure project that was funded by a bill that she voted against. She's one of those Republicans, you know the type. So that tweet was responded to by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who said, "Congresswoman, in what way do you believe that your support helped this project? We chose it because it's a good project and funded it using President Biden's infrastructure package, which you voted against." Which, look, I don't even really like Pete Buttigieg. I'm not the biggest supporter of him, but there's nothing he said that is wrong there. And so she needs to respond. But because there's no factual inaccuracy, she has to go low. Really, really low and really, really gross and really, really classless. She says this: "Mayor Pete, maybe you were out chest feeding and missed my letter, but I personally wrote you about this in June 2022. Only 13 rhinos in the House voted for your Green New Deal non-infrastructure bill you're touting that wastes hundreds of millions on climate change instead of roads and bridges." On climate change means like energy infrastructure and charging infrastructure and all this stuff that produces jobs, gets us ready for. Infrastructure grants have been doled out by administrations on both sides for decades, so don't act like you're the sole provider of this funding. Well, first of all, in Pete Buttigieg's defense or Joe Biden's defense, Infrastructure Week became a joke during the Trump administration because they kept saying they were gonna have it, but they refused to. So maybe technically they've been doled out by administrations for decades. There was a bit of a gap there for 4 years. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. Should bother you more since you love infrastructure so much, Congresswoman. Only 13 rhinos voted for it, yeah, and more than 13 are now claiming credit because they're liars who want the cred but don't want to actually provide the funding. And saying that it wastes hundreds of millions on climate change, first of all, identify what the funding is actually going to. And if you think that the whole thing's a big waste of money, that's fine. But don't try to claim credit for it because again, you tried to stop it. But I want to focus briefly and get your thoughts on this. Maybe you were out chest feeding. It's just the deeply homophobic sort of stuff that, a petty little mean girl like Lauren Boebert is gonna do. He had a kid, Pete Buttigieg did. Him and his partner had a kid and he took time off to be with his kid. So screw him for the rest of time. It actually gets worse when you learn another detail, and we'll get to that, but what do you make of it?
Didn't she go to Trump's trial instead of her kid's graduation?
I know, rather than her kid's trial.
Her kid's trial, that's what it was.
Her kid was on trial.
Rather than be there to defend her flesh and blood, as she gave a pound of flesh to Donald Trump. Like, come on, you're not a family woman. You're not a good person. And like, what do you expect Pete Buttigieg to do? Be like, wow, she's an idiot, but oh, that's right, I'm gay.
I'll see myself out. Yeah, I forgot.
Like, he can't choose to not be gay, but you could choose not to be stupid. Like, or figure it out and not tweet that thing.
Here's the detail that makes it even worse. Pete Buttigieg's partner says, "Our 2-month-old son was on a ventilator at the Children's Hospital when you attacked my husband for being with his family. I watched him take calls and Zooms from our hospital room all day, managing crisis after crisis while our son's heart monitor beeped in the background." That is devastating. As someone with a young child who thankfully has never experienced any sort of medical crisis like that, you're mocking them in your homophobic, classless way, you little piece of congressional trash. Listen, dealing with a crisis like that. She has multiple kids. She pretends to care about families and she mocks him for loving his. She is garbage. She should have been my garbage person of the day. I messed up.
Yeah, your family's totally all about family values. When your ex-husband got arrested and convicted for sure, he basically whipped out his wee-war in front of a teen. And then you're not at home taking care of your kids. You're out at the theater getting your Beetlejuiced.
Yow. I will quickly say, I don't want to have a conversation about it. I will quickly say, I'm not necessarily as critical of her for not going to the court thing. He's now of age. If they've had a big falling out, it is possible that she has, there are families that have tried to get through to a person many, many times. And at a certain point, I'm just saying, I don't know the family dynamics there. That's not the part I'm gonna criticize. I'm gonna criticize her.
Neither does she.
In the political sense. Okay, yeah, that's true. She's opening herself up to it because she's talking about other people's families. I get that. You're not.
Well, that's just the context. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. I don't even like. Yeah. I don't think I'm making an awesome killer point about her. I'm just like revealing how ridiculous her points are.
Do you think that the upcoming Beetlejuice sequel loves that she put Beetlejuice back in the national conversation so much? I wonder. Anyway, I'm very excited for it. The trailer came out yesterday and it looks good. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.